The term invader, in the context of U.S. immigration, evokes strong imagery, often tied to national security and sovereignty. Its application to individuals entering or residing in the country spans a spectrum of legal statuses and intentions, necessitating precise definitions to navigate the complex landscape of immigration policy. This essay provides an unbiased, academic exploration of what constitutes an invader, an illegal invader, and a legal invader, while integrating related terminology and concepts central to U.S. immigration law and enforcement. Written in a professional and readable style, it aims to clarify these distinctions for a broad audience, emphasizing factual accuracy and neutrality. Defining an invader. An invader, in its broadest sense, refers to an individual who enters a country with the intent to disrupt, harm, or undermine its societal, political, or economic stability. Unlike neutral immigration terms, invader carries a connotation of hostility, suggesting actions beyond mere presence. In U.S. immigration discourse, an invader is not defined by legal status alone, but by the perceived or actual threat posed. This could include individuals planning violent acts, espionage, or subversion, regardless of how they entered the country. The term aligns with security frameworks, where intent to cause aggression distinguishes invaders from other migrants. For example, someone plotting terrorist activities or engaging in criminal enterprises could be labeled an invader, whether they hold a valid visa or cross the border clandestinely. Illegal invader, unauthorized entry with potential harm. An illegal invader is an individual who enters or resides in the U.S. without legal authorization and is perceived to have harmful intentions, though such intent may not always be proven. These individuals lack valid documentation, such as passports or visas, and violate federal immigration laws by crossing borders outside designated ports or overstaying temporary permissions. The term illegal invader is often used in nationalist rhetoric to describe unauthorized immigrants broadly, implying a threat to national security or sovereignty. However, its application is contentious, as it assumes aggressive intent not necessarily present in all cases. Unauthorized immigrants, a more neutral term, enter without legal permission or remain after their legal status expires. In 2023, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported approximately 2.5 million apprehensions at the U.S.-Mexico border, many of whom lacked passports or visas, fitting the unauthorized immigrant category. Undocumented immigrants, similarly, lack legal identification, with an estimated 11 million residing in the U.S. in 2023, according to the Department of Homeland Security. The legal term illegal alien, used in federal statutes, describes non-citizens who violate immigration laws, while deportable aliens face removal proceedings for such violations. Irregular migrants, a global term, and non-citizens without authorization also fall under this umbrella, emphasizing their lack of legal standing. The invader label, when applied to these groups, suggests potential harm, such as criminal activity or security threats. For instance, individuals using fraudulent documents to enter, a felony punishable by up to 7 years in prison, might be seen as illegal invaders if their actions suggest malicious intent. However, most unauthorized immigrants apprehended at the border seek economic opportunities or safety, not aggression, complicating the blanket use of invader. The term's rhetorical power often overshadows the reality that intent to harm requires specific evidence, not merely a legal status. Legal invader, authorized entry with harmful intent. A legal invader is an individual who enters the U.S. with valid documentation, such as a passport and visa, but harbors intentions to cause harm or disrupt national interests. These individuals exploit legal pathways, tourist visas, student visas, or other temporary permissions, to gain entry while concealing their true objectives. The concept of a legal invader highlights that immigration status alone does not determine threat level. Intent is the defining factor. For example, a person entering on a valid visa to conduct espionage or plan violent acts fits this category, posing a unique challenge to security agencies. Legal entrants, including visitors, are typically vetted before receiving visas, which are issued for specific purposes like tourism, business, or study. Passports verify identity and citizenship, while visas grant temporary or permanent entry permissions. The visa waiver program allows citizens of 42 countries to enter for up to 90 days with an electronic system for travel authorization, a digital pre-approval link to their passport. In fiscal year 2019, approximately 80 to 90 million non-immigrant admissions occurred, nearly all with valid documentation, demonstrating the scale of legal entry. Yet, among these millions, a small fraction may conceal harmful intentions, undetected by initial screenings. Terms like terrorist, threat actor, criminal alien, and foreign agent apply to legal invaders with specific harmful goals. A terrorist plans violent acts to intimidate or influence policy, while a threat actor poses risks through sabotage or violence. Criminal aliens commit or intend crimes, and foreign agents act on behalf of hostile entities. These labels require evidence of intent, such as intercepted communications or affiliations, and are not assumed based on entry alone. The rarity of such cases, 172 terrorism watch list encounters at borders in 2023 per CBP, underscores that legal invaders are exceptional but significant threats. Related terminology and contexts. Beyond invaders, several terms describe individuals navigating U.S. immigration processes, each with distinct implications. Asylum seekers request protection from persecution, permitted under federal law to apply regardless of entry method. Many lack documentation but are processed through credible fear interviews, with 1 million cases pending in 2023. Gotaways, estimated at 2 million from 2021 to 2024, cross borders undetected, evading all documentation checks. Parolees enter temporarily without visas under humanitarian programs, with 1.3 million admitted from 2021 to 2024. These categories highlight the diversity of unauthorized or temporary presence, not inherently tied to harmful intent. The term invader contrasts with these neutral or legal statuses, emphasizing aggression. Nationalist rhetoric often labels all unauthorized immigrants as invaders, but this conflates legal violations with security threats. For instance, improper entry, a misdemeanor carrying up to 6 months in prison or a $50 to $250 fine, applies to most border crossers, but few exhibit violent intent. Reentry after deportation, a felony with up to 2 years, or document fraud, a felony with up to 7 years, may suggest greater risk, but enforcement prioritizes proven threats. The challenge lies in distinguishing genuine invaders from economic migrants or asylum seekers, requiring precise intelligence and enforcement. Enforcement mechanisms against unauthorized entry. The U.S. employs a multi-layered system to address unauthorized entry, relevant to both illegal and potential legal invaders. International intelligence operations collaborate with foreign governments to disrupt smuggling networks, sharing biometric data and imposing sanctions. Border security, led by 19,357 Border Patrol agents and 24,000 port officers, apprehends or denies entry to millions, with 10.3 million encounters from 2021 to 2024. Internal enforcement, through Immigration and Customs Enforcement, detained and removed 685,000 individuals in 2024, though a 3.7 million case backlog delays action. These mechanisms aim to detect threats, but distinguishing invaders with harmful intent remains resource-intensive. Citizen roles and reporting. U.S. citizens have no legal obligation to report unauthorized immigrants, but can submit tips to Immigration and Customs Enforcement anonymously via a toll-free line or online form. Specific details, such as names or workplaces, increase investigation likelihood, but citizens cannot verify status or detain individuals. False reports risk felony charges or civil lawsuits, while assumption-based tips, like those tied to appearance, may invite harassment accusations. Effective reporting focuses on factual observations, avoiding bias to minimize legal repercussions while aiding enforcement against potential invaders. Administrative influences. Immigration enforcement varies by administration, impacting how invaders are addressed. From 2017 to 2021, strict policies prosecuted all illegal entries and expanded local cooperation. From 2021 to 2025, enforcement prioritized criminals, releasing 3.6 million with court notices. These shifts affect detection of both illegal and legal invaders, leaving enforcement inconsistent and citizens reliant on federal priorities. Conclusion: the concept of an invader in U.S. immigration encompasses individuals with harmful intentions, whether entering illegally or legally. Illegal invaders, lacking documentation, are often assumed to threaten sovereignty, though most pose no aggressive risk. Legal invaders, exploiting valid entry pathways, represent rare but significant dangers. Understanding these distinctions, alongside terms like unauthorized immigrant, asylum seeker, and terrorist, clarifies the challenges of securing borders while upholding legal processes. As the U.S. grapples with millions of unauthorized entrants, precise terminology and robust enforcement remain critical to addressing true invaders without conflating them with broader migration patterns.